And missed you guys. Good morning. Say hi in the comment. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Good morning, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. How's everyone doing? Haiti, Toller, good morning. Berryanne, good morning. Ciao, Baba Na, Bill, good morning. Pretty Petite, good morning. Good morning, everyone. I don't have a lot of time today, but I've definitely missed you guys. Like, I've missed being on live, and I almost wasn't on live today. I was running super late, and I was like, even if it's only 15 minutes, I need to get on live today. Um, Attendum from Maryland, good morning. No said North Carolina, good morning. D Lover, Done Matt, good morning. Someone says, where did you go? I've been out for a couple of weeks. I went to Spain, Italy, and London. My daughter was doing like a summer abroad in Spain. So we went there. And then from there, we just kind of went through certain countries in Italy and then London. But I'm certainly glad to be back home, in the United States and to be here with you guys. Okay, let us see what is going on. So let me introduce myself real quick and jump right into the questions. My name is Aisha Chidowe, and I'm an immigration lawyer. I represent clients in every state in the United States, all 50 states. To schedule a consultation, you can call 407-995-6567. You can also send a WhatsApp to 404-333-8751. Let's jump right into it. Let me see what you guys are asking. How long does it take after applying for a green card? Berryanne, your question is not complete. What else? What are you asking? What kind of green card are you applying for? Hey, Feed Good, what's up? 876 Jamaica to Maryland. Good morning. Good morning. Jamaican Empress says, I was wondering where you are. Yeah, sometimes we as human beings need a break, just like I'm sure sometimes you guys need a break. And, a lot of times when you own your own business, you never get to take time off. Even though I was on break, I was still not really off. I was still working, but, for my mental health and rejuvenation, sometimes, I need a few days off. Okay, good morning from New Jersey. I applied for an I-130 first and it was approved. How long does it take for the I-485 to get approved? Most times when you apply for an I-130 and an I-485, if you are in an immediate family category, the approval usually will happen relatively quickly within a couple of minutes of each other, or a couple of days of each other, or a couple of weeks if there's something that you're looking for in your I-485. However, if you're applying for an applying an I-130 and I-485 adjustment of status based on being in a family preference category, it could take months or years, depending on when your visa is available. So without knowing what category you fall under, it's hard for me to tell you that. Greedy Girl Ann says, I'm Jamaican living in Canada and I'm currently living without status. My boyfriend is an American citizen who wants to marry me. Do I have to go back to Jamaica to marry him, or can the marriage, I guess you're asking whether marriage can happen. I don't advise on marriage. Like, you have to look at the laws of the country you are, what determines a legal marriage. As long as you have a legal marriage, wherever you are, your spouse can marry you wherever you are if the marriage is legal. Just like, there are people here without status in the United States, and they can still be married, whether they have status or not, as long as they follow the laws of the state in which you're getting married. So, I can't tell you what the process is in Canada. You might want to start with their justice of the peace, or, whatever they use, or, the county clerk, if that's what they use in Canada, to find out what the requirements are. African Shega says, welcome back. Hope you had a great vacation. I did, although they did lose our luggages several times and we're still waiting on one luggage. So hopefully that makes it soon. If you have an interview for the green card, but your I-130 is still showing 12 months before decision, well, that doesn't matter. They're going to interview you for the green card and the I-130 at the same time. It's very rare. Like, I would say in the thousands of cases that I've ever done, there's only been once where the client got a separate I-485 and a separate I-130 where the I-485 interview came before the I-130 interview. And I remember saying to the officer, why are you guys doing this? This is a waste of your time and a waste of our time, like, to keep coming here, because you should be doing it at the same time. And one of the things he said was they had a shortage of staff, and the person that would have been able to do the I-130 wasn't around. It was just really weird. But that's not the norm, typically. They usually will do it together. So prepare as though they're going to do it together, basically. I have a 2-year green card and will expire next year, but we'll get divorced. And my wife and I can still get a 10-year green card. If you're getting divorced, you will not be able to file with your wife any longer. You will be requesting a removal of condition based on a waiver of divorce. You don't have to wait till your green card expires. Once you are divorced, then you're eligible to apply for removal of condition with the waiver. Okay. If my VAWA was denied, what can I do? If your VAWA is denied, we have to see why it was denied and when it was denied. If you're still within the window of appeal, we got to check the window of appeal and see, are you eligible for appeal? Should you be appealing? Should you be doing a new VAWA application? So we'll definitely want to know why it was denied, and then we'll want to know strategically, should you be appealing or should you be refiling? For instance, if, let's say, you filed a VAWA application, you guys know VAWA cases take anywhere from like 2 years, 3 years, for example. And let's say you divorce your spouse, and by the time they approve your VAWA, the divorce has been more than 2 years. In that case, we're not going to try to refile. We're going to find a ground to appeal it, because appeal is the only thing that will still lock in the old filing versus a new filing, which you'll no longer be eligible for. So, the answer really depends on the situation with each individual. How long to get a prima facie and advanced parole after biometrics? Biometrics is not connected to prima facie. Prima facie is given once you meet the requirements for prima facie, which would be that you meet all the requirements, the preliminary requirements for VAWA, proof of good faith marriage, proof that you entered into illegal marriage, proof of abuse, proof of good moral character, proof of cohabitation. If you're able to show those things, typically you should be able to get a prima facie determination letter. A prima facie determination letter is not a guarantee of approval, but it is saying that you meet the preliminary requirements that we were reviewing before we send you for more comprehensive review with, another officer. So, from a timeline perspective, most people will get it within 3 to 5 months. Sometimes some people will get it later. Sometimes they'll get it earlier. Okay. How long does it take to process a reopened case of an I-130? I can't tell you. I don't know the timeline. It just depends on what case you have, who the officer is, but there are no published timelines for those situations. I got a second prima facie determination letter for 6 months. What's next? Okay, yes. So the first prima facie determination letter that you typically get is going to be for 365 days, which is a year. And then after that, you're going to get a prima facie determination letter for 6 months. And you're going to continue to get it in the 6-month increments until they make a decision on your case. So it'll be 180 days, until they make a decision on your case. So that's normal. After your 10-year green card, can you apply for your children? It doesn't matter their ages. So if you get a 10-year green card, there are very many variables. It depends on, are your children here in the US or your children outside of the US? If your children are under 21 or if they're over 21. If your children are under 21, they will fall into a different category than if they're over 21. And if they're over 21 or they're at an age for marriage, just keep in mind that as a green card holder, your children that you're filing for cannot be married. If they marry, they're no longer eligible. You have to be unmarried as a green card holder. Otherwise, you need to be a US citizen to file for a married child. Okay. I have an interview for a green card marriage base, but the petition is not with me anymore. I'm assuming you mean the petitioner is not with you anymore. Well, depends on when your interview is. I'm happy to screen you to see if you're eligible for VAWA. If you're eligible for VAWA, maybe that's something that can be brought up during the interview, letting them know that you're going to be filing this other petition, and to give you a couple of weeks to allow you to file it, because otherwise attending or not attending without anything will get you issued a denial. Have you ever seen someone with a prima facie, a work permit, a travel permit in 6 months get a denial? What are the odds of getting a denial? Do you think I can get a denial after getting all of this? Absolutely. Absolutely, you can get a denial regardless of this. So, one thing that I think people don't understand, and this is a good question to explain, is there are two types of work permits that you can get when you do a VAWA application. I'm speaking specifically of VAWA applications. Or similar in a marriage-based case, the work permit that you get because you submit an I-485, application does not mean your case was approved. It just means that because you submitted an I-485 and your case is pending, will allow you to get a work permit. It's not going to guarantee you that your case is going to be approved, because we've not even looked at your case. We're just giving you a work permit while we process your case, right? The second kind of work permit that you can get in a VAWA application is only upon approval of your VAWA case. However, a lot of times the work permit will come. So this is what we call a C31. If it says that your VAWA case, your I-360, we've issued you a card, that means 100% that you're getting a VAWA approval. That card, C31, typically happens at the very end. So in the 2-year, 3-year mark of approval, that card, that EAD is a guaranteed approval, because that is not issued without an approval. So usually what happens is they will issue the card today and tomorrow they'll make the approval. Most times, it usually comes the next day. A prima facie, as I mentioned earlier, is a preliminary. Preliminary means, all right, we submitted this, have this application in my hand. Let's just look through the first things and do some checkoffs. There's literally like a checkbox. Okay, there's a section here for good faith marriage. There's a section here for cohabitation. There's some stuff here for, good moral character. There's some stuff here for abuse. So we're going to go ahead and just give them a prima facie case. But they're not looking at it in depth in the way that a reviewing officer is going to be reviewing your case when it's time for them to review your case. So let me give you an example. Sometimes, and I'm going to use Nigerian cases in particular, because this is where we see the most of it. And I will tell you, many people, sometimes you get upset at me for saying this or not, but, I have a solid track record. I don't need to lie, about it. I post my stuff so people will see, I can count in one hand, every case that has ever been denied. So it's that little. And for all those cases, the 100% reason why those cases were denied was because they had a fraudulent divorce from Nigeria, or an invalid divorce, meaning the spouse did not exist and they made it up. 100%, and didn't disclose this. And USCIS has brought this up and told us about it. And that's why I always tell people, listen, you should never lie to your lawyer. You should tell them the truth. If there are options available for you, then they'll give you what the options are available for you. If there are waivers available for you misrepresenting yourself, it's better to do that than to lie. So in saying that, in using this as an example, if let's say, somebody in the office is like, okay, I see a divorce decree here. Check it off for prima facie. I see abuse here, check it out for abuse. I see cohabitation, check it out for abuse. When the reviewing officer then pulls up the reciprocity schedule and says, okay, let's look at this divorce decree in detail. So this is what the Nigerian Marriage Act says. This is what the Nigerian Divorce Act says. This document doesn't have XYZ. This document doesn't have XYZ. So therefore, this is not a valid divorce. But instead of us to deny you outright, we're going to give you the opportunity to prove to us that this divorce is true or not. So what they will do is they will either send you a NOID, which is a notice of intent to deny, or a request for additional evidence proving that this divorce is valid. And if you're not able to prove that, the divorce is valid. In those cases, you'll get denied. So I'm using that as an example, because that's only what I've experienced. We don't get denials, I'm saying it in the most humble way. We're very thorough about what we do. We don't take all cases. Your case has to make sense. And, for me, I don't ever take for granted, when people basically put their future in this country, in my hands. I don't take that for granted. So I won't take a case if I know you're not eligible and you don't qualify. If there is a fighting chance, we'll make the argument. There are some lawyers or some notarians or whatever it is, they don't feel like making the legal argument because it's too difficult. It's too complicated. Like, I'm not afraid of a difficult case. I'm not afraid of making an argument if there is an argument to be made, But if you don't qualify, you don't qualify. In order for you to be approved for VAWA, you have to have a valid divorce, right? So meaning the previous marriage, you have to have divorced that person properly and gone through the proper channels to divorce that person to be successful. All right, guys, I'm going to take one more question and I got to jump off. Okay, so someone I know got their 2-year green card, 10 years again. I never got the conditions removed and got remarried. Can conditions be removed? I'm not sure I understand your question. Are you saying they got a 2-year green card and then they never got the 10-year green card, but they went ahead and remarried? So even if they remarried, they can still remove the conditions. So removal of conditions when you're already a green card holder is very different from VAWA cases with an I-360. So with a VAWA case where you don't have a green card, you cannot marry or remarry while your case is pending. You cannot go and marry someone else. But with conditional removal, there's no rule or requirement that you cannot marry or remarry. You can remarry, but you still have to prove that initial green card in which you got, that marriage was a good faith marriage to get your 10-year green card. I know this was a short one. I'm going to try and see if I can come on earlier tomorrow, just to do another live because I was super late today. So if I didn't get your question answered, hopefully I'll try and come up tomorrow and get your questions answered. I might come on earlier, like around 9:30 or something. But I hope you guys have an amazing day and I will talk to you guys later.